We're on air.
We're on the air. Good morning, everybody. Um, My name is Annie McCary, your first Vice President of Third Mutual Board. Welcome to this informational meeting regarding insurance. This is an informational session. However, if you, the listening audience, would like to join us, you can submit your questions to info@lagunawoodsvillage.com and then put in the information third board insurance. So you have the opportunity to do that. I'd like to acknowledge the presence of any media, TV6, and anyone else joining us via virtual. I'd like to start off by introducing the board members to you. Here with me on the diocese are our treasurer, Robert Munchnick, Secretary Lynn Jarrett, and second Vice President Ralph Engel. Also joining us participating virtually are directors Debbie Dotson, Reza Karimi, and Craig Wayne. And so today, we, the officers of Third Board, are going to present information to you regarding insurance. We'll start off by Director Munchnick giving us a little bit of a background information on how we got here.
Thank you, Vice President. I appreciate it. All right, how did we get here? Many of you who've been here in the village for years know the whole story on what's happening with our insurance. For those of you who moved here within the last year, some of this information is probably new to you, and it's important that you understand the situation. For many, many years, Travelers Insurance insured the whole village. And every year they would raise the rates a certain small percentage. Everybody was happy. There was no new evaluation of the village, and life went on and premiums were quite low. Well, 2 years ago, Travelers Insurance notified the village, because we were all sharing insurance at that time, notified the village that they would no longer insure the whole village for the $700 million that they had previously been insuring us. They said that they would only take the first $50 million of insurance, and therefore we had to go out through our insurance broker and layer all sorts of other insurance companies on top of that $50 million to get to the $700 million that the village wanted to insure itself for. The next year, which was last year, Travelers informed us that they would not be willing to take the first $50 million unless the village engaged in a complete reevaluation, updated reevaluation of the village property. The village secured the services of a company called Duff & Phelps, an independent contractor, who then performed a complete evaluation of the village. The village went from the historical $700 million in coverage to $3.4 billion in coverage. That's right, billion. So it went up approximately 5 times. So when we went to market last year for the insurance with our broker, which was Beecher Carlson, insurance broker, the price of insurance went up dramatically for a couple of reasons. One, which Director Jarrett will talk about soon, is the issue of disasters. Another reason the insurance went up dramatically was because we went from an evaluation of $700 million to $3.4 billion. So our premiums are based on a value 5 times what it previously was. So the insurance went up dramatically, and we had no control over that. As part of that, we passed on to the membership a $20 per manor per month increase. And we took the rest of that money out of our disaster fund on a one-time basis. And Grant, if you could put up a slide for us, that would help show everybody what the story is from last year to this year. Okay, this slide that you're looking at now is a comparison of the assessment increase for only insurance. And I need to stress, this is only the insurance component. So if you start on the left-hand side, the assessment increase, as I just previously indicated, for this year was $20 per manor per month. Most of that went to the insurance. There was a little bit that went to some other things, but the vast majority of it went to insurance. The cost of insurance, as I indicated, that we paid out of reserves this year to supplement since we didn't want to raise the per man or per month assessment more than the $20, we took $48 per man or per month out of, actually, it's not the reserve, it's the disaster fund. That's a mistake on the slide, so please know that it's disaster fund, not the reserve account. So that annual increase was $571 per manor that was taken from the disaster fund, for a total, if you multiply 6,102 manors by the $571, you'll get the $3,484,000 that came out of the disaster fund. All right, so now we come to next year, because our insurance will be up in October and we'll be going to market sometime in June or July to obtain quotes for October 1. If we no longer can take the money out of the disaster fund, it's going to cost us approximately a minimum of $46 per manor per month to obtain the same level coverage of insurance. So everybody's monthly assessment would go up by $46 at a minimum. Okay, this doesn't account for any possible increase in insurance that'll take place this coming year. And we're already being told by our new broker, and we did switch brokers, let me explain that to you. Beecher Carlson is a small insurance broker, and we felt that they were unable to obtain the kind of insurance that we in Third wanted to have. They could only get the $700 million. They couldn't get anything near the $1.6 billion of which we wanted to try to obtain coverage for. So we switched and went to a broker by the name of A.J. Gallagher. A.J. Gallagher is the third largest insurance broker in the country. They have offices internationally. They have relationships with insurance companies around the world. And because of the size of A.J. Gallagher, they're able to have direct contact with those insurance companies, cutting out middlemen that Beecher Carlson had to use to get the kind of quotes that we had. So we're hoping that by switching brokers, we can do more to contain the cost of our insurance. All right? But we still expect anywhere from a 20 to 30% increase. That's what the insurance brokers are telling us, a 20 to 30% increase in the cost of insurance for this coming year due to disasters that are taking place around the world. And also, you need to understand the very low interest rate that insurance companies are able to obtain when they have their float. That's the money they receive from us that they invest before they have to pay out, and they try to make money on that. Those interest rates are very, very low. So those things are driving up the cost of insurance. So at this point, with another increase expected this year of 20 to 30%, we may have to raise the insurance rates, the monthly assessment, by as much as $93, $94 per manor per month. Not something we want to do, hence that's the history, and that's why we have the insurance amendment before you now that we hope that you'll consider. Vice President McCary, thank you.
Thank you, Director Munchnick. Now I'd like to present Director Lynn Jarrett, who's going to talk to us a little bit about disasters and the relationship to insurance.
Thank you, Vice President McCary. Yes, today I'm going to talk about wildfires. Wildfires are a worldwide problem. Countries of Indonesia, Australia, Russia, Serbia, the Amazon, and U.S. wildfires hit harder every year, especially in California, Washington, and Oregon. Last year, 5 million acres were lost to fires. 4 million plus of those were in California alone. Climate change is the biggest overall cause of disasters like floods, fires, and the mega drought we are now experiencing. The New York Times reported just today that wildfires are bigger and starting earlier in the year. Heat waves are more frequent and the air is getting hotter. Today we realize that as temperatures rise, the atmosphere can more efficiently pull moisture out of leaves, pine needles, and the forest floor. Without precipitation to compensate, this creates ideal conditions for wildfires. California proposes to spend a total of $1 billion on fire management this year. We are in a mega drought which is concerning for water for our livelihood, but for the planet in general. At Lake Mead, one of the two major reservoirs of the Colorado River, which some 40 million Americans in the West depend on, water levels are creeping toward a threshold that could trigger the first official shortage declaration for the basin. The deadliest fire in U.S. history since 1918 was the Camp Fire in California in 2018. It was the most expensive natural disaster that year in the world in terms of insured losses. More than 153,000 acres burned, and the death toll was 85. That fire destroyed 18,000 structures, including 95% of the towns of Paradise and Concal, at a cost of $16.5 billion, of which $4 billion was uninsured. That's 25% of those homes and structures were uninsured. Closer to home, we have had several large fires causing major damage. Last year, one was in Silverado Canyon, just 14 miles from us, where 90,000 people were evacuated. Another one, also in the Silverado Canyon, just 15 miles from us, was the bonfire when 25,000 people were evacuated. In 1993, Laguna Beach, which is just 6 miles from us, had a major fire where 16,000 acres burned, 400 homes were destroyed, and $528 million of damage occurred. Imagine what the cost for replacement of those homes would be in today's dollars. Rising temperatures are making droughts more frequent and severe and increasing the likelihood of extended mega droughts. How does that affect fires? How can we fight fires without water? Heightened dryness contributes to an increased risk of wildfires. Hurricanes, floods, and other extreme weather events nationally can culminate in multiple colliding crises, threaten our stability, and adds to the cost of our insurance premiums. Because we live adjacent to the Laguna Wilderness Park, we have been keeping a clearing of 30 foot to keep fires at bay. We are just one signature away from gaining permission from the agencies maintaining the park to extend that clearing to 100 foot. We are ready to plant drought-tolerant plants in that clearing once we expand it. Even with that, travelers, our primary insurance carrier last year told us that when a fire starts in the park, there are no assurance that even a 300-foot clearance would save us from a fire on a very windy day. Fires are becoming more deadly. Worldwide, disasters affect our insurance carriers. Additionally, national and local disasters cause insurance premiums to rise to protect our property against storms, fires, and more. Fire insurance is an elusive necessity in California and is rising at a frightening pace if you can get it at all. Homeowners are finding their premiums are outpacing their income. One family paid $1,300 annually in 2012 for their insurance. Now it is more than $7,000 per year. We hadn't had our properties evaluated for 20 years until last year when they were valued at $700 million. And after reevaluation, which is a demand by insurance carriers, they are now worth $1.6 billion. Folks, the state of California is in a fire zone and we need insurance, the most affordable insurance that is possible, any way you look at it. You may know from the news that migration from California is on the rise. Why? Taxes and insurance are two big reasons. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Jarrett. Now, I'm going to read to you the new amendment, Article 11, Section 1 of the CC&Rs, and this is, you will either receive this information with your ballot or you may have already gotten it. So this is what the amendment says. The mutual shall obtain and maintain a policy of policies of property insurance with extended all-risk coverage for a reasonable, insurable replacement value of insurable improvements of the common area and units of the project and related projects. For purposes of this provision, reasonable insurance replacement value shall not be required to be 100% full insurable replacement coverage if the same is deemed by the Board of Directors to not be practical or reasonably affordable for the mutual. The Board of Directors shall endeavor to make a responsible effort, if reasonably available, to maintain property insurance with a valuation that is generally accepted to and not prohibited by residential mortgage and secondary mortgage markets. Notwithstanding anything to the contrary contained herein, at all times, if commercially available, no matter the cost, the mutual shall maintain property insurance in an amount which is no less than 2 times the most current probable maximum loss, or PML. And now I'd like to present Director Engel, who will be, along with the other directors, are going to be answering some pre-submitted questions that have been submitted to the board in relation to insurance. Director Engel.
Thank you, Director McCary. First question that I have, somebody submitted was, is the availability of insurance an issue? I think that was pretty well covered by what Director Muchin and Jarrett both had said, so let me recap that a little bit. Travelers had previously carried all of the property value insurance that we had. When it got revalued, they didn't want to carry that much, and so it was actually split among a large number of different carriers who would, well, our broker actually built a coverage program involving something like, 20 or 30 different insurance companies, I believe? 35. At any rate, some of those insurance companies now will not even insure us at all unless there is an exclusion for wildfires. And so that kind of answers the question. Yes, is there an issue? Yes. Another question was regarding bulk buying. I think what was meant by that was banding together with other similar organizations such as Third Mutual, usually smaller, who could not afford to carry their full insurance alone, and they would band together and carry a group policy. Problem with that is that we have 40 to 50-year-old buildings. They're all frame and stucco. They don't have sprinkler systems, and all of these things make it difficult for an insurance company to even want to carry the loan, and banding together with other associations like Third is also more difficult that way. So it's just not feasible at this time. At this time, I would like to turn it over to Directors Carmi and Wayne and Dotson, who join us virtually at this time. So I think, Director Carmi, are you on next?
Director Karimi.
And making decision for this important issue for the village. So one of the questions that is asked is there a deductible that makes the insurance premium more affordable? That's a great question. Earlier stages of when we were debating through the board on insurance issue. The thing that the premium and deductible is not linear. If we think that as deductible goes up, the premium goes up significantly, to a degree, there is a inflection point that after that happens, and there is significant reduction in premium as we increase the deductible. We continue to explore using the higher deductible as a mean of reducing our premium. Last year, at $10,000 deductible. This year, the best we could do is $25,000 deductible. We already have we have been informed that the next year minimum deductible will be 100,000. We have explored deductible of 200, and because of the nonlinearity between and the deductible, the reduction in premium is not sufficient to justify a higher deductible. But we're going to continue exploring this issue with the insurance company, best available deductible for us in order to maintain our insurance. Thank you.
Thank you, Director Karimi. Next, we'll have Director Craig Wayne. Director Wayne, can you unmute yourself? You're muted.
Let's try that from the beginning. Thank you, Vice President. Okay, so another one of the questions is, what is likely to be the impact on members if we're required to obtain 100% replacement insurance on our property? Well, the answer is, please understand that 100% replacement, which would be 1.6 billion with a B dollars of insurance, may not be available to us, as it was not available this past year. As you all know, Third raised the HOA fee $20 per month for this year, while taking approximately $46 per month out of our disaster fund to cover the balance of the increase on the property insurance. You saw that on the slide that was presented earlier. As we said last year, when announcing this was only a one-time option. The annual cost of insurance is going to go up. So at a minimum, to cover the cost of insurance at this moment in time, will require an additional $46 per month per manor. This is if the cost of insurance does not go up and if we continue to purchase $700 million. And earlier you heard that we expect a 20% increase in the price of insurance. The board's trying to purchase 100% replacement cost as required by the CC&Rs, which is $1.6 billion. So the increase would be considerably more, upward of $93 per month per manor, possible for next year. Another question that was asked is, why not have another appraisal to see if we can get a lower evaluation? There are two issues here related to having another appraisal. One is timeliness. There is no way we could complete the appraisal process in time for renewing our insurance this year. And second is a new appraisal could just as easily be higher than the one we have. Given that the price of insurance is increasing, there's a reason for that. The increase in commodities such as concrete, steel, copper, and lumber have gone up substantially in the past year. It's currently estimated that if one is to build a new home, the cost of lumber would increase the price of the building by $36,000 over the cost last year. And that is just for the price of lumber, not mentioning those other commodities. Thank you, Vice President.
Thank you, Director Wayne. And now, Director Dodson.
Yes, thank you, Acting President. So the last question we have here today was, why not specify a minimum level of insurance, say 80% of the value of replacement? So we evaluated the suggestions of a minimum insurable amount or a percentage. We believe that declaring a specific percentage or a specific dollar amount could create unnecessary problems going forward. For example, if we set a minimum of 80% right now, that would be $1.28 billion of insurance, which may not even be available, and if it is, may not be affordable. And even if it is affordable this year, insuring at 80% may be unaffordable next year, given how insurance rates are currently rising. If we set a specific dollar amount, as the value of third increases over time, the dollar amount decreases in terms of the percent of replacement it represents. However, to try and address the issue, the board has taken the approach that the minimum amount of property insurance it is required to purchase in any given year will be 2 times the most recent probable maximum loss, or PML. The PML can change every time an updated PML study is done. Thank you.
Thank you, Directors Dodson, Wayne, and Karimi, for participating in answering questions. And thank you to the residents who submitted those questions. We do hope that your questions were answered to your satisfaction. And we also invite you to continue to submit your questions to the board regarding insurance so that we may address those. So in concluding, we'd like to thank you, the residents, for attending this session today, and invite you to mark your calendars for the upcoming town hall meetings that are scheduled for May 21st and June 7th. Both these meetings, town hall meetings, will be available via Zoom. The date and time I already mentioned. You can join from your computer or tablet or smartphone with the email address that is on your screen. You can also dial in using the phone number that is listed, 1-669-900-9833. And then that access code is 948-9980-6730. And those of you that are familiar with the way we've been doing our meetings recently, this will be a pretty easy process for you to join. And so on behalf of the third board, we'd like to thank you for tuning in with us this morning, listening to some of the answers to questions that you have submitted. And we do hope that you will join us for our town hall meetings coming up again, and also submit your questions for us to answer as well. So again, thank you very much. Thank you to the media. Thank you to my fellow directors, and thank you, residents of Third Mutual. Have a wonderful day.
La